What's up, everybody? Scott Lennar back here with you, but with my dad again today. He's back. First game out in the March Madness bracket for us, Gonzaga and Georgia State. Give me Gonzaga. I think they're probably the best team in the NCAA this year. I'll go with the Zags to get it done against Georgia State.
I agree. No upset here. Gonzaga gets the win.
Next up, Boise State and Memphis. I'm going to go with Memphis. I think Memphis is probably one of the hotter teams coming into the NCAA tournament this year. So I'm going to go with Memphis to get it done against Boise.
More talent, playing the best basketball of the year. Give me the Memphis Tigers.
Next up, UConn and New Mexico State. Give me UConn. I think UConn's been playing very well in a very tough Big East this year. I'm going to go with UConn to get it done against New Mexico State.
It's a tough pick here, but I think UConn and plays in a better conference. I think UConn gets the win.
Next up, Arkansas and Vermont. For one of my teachers over at Willow Schools back in Coach Balmert, I will happily take Vermont in this game. I think Vermont's a team that could be definitely pulling off this upset. So I'm going to go with Vermont's pull it off against Arkansas.
Not a bad pick. I do think it'll be a close game, but give me the Razorbacks in this one.
Next up, Alabama and the winner of Rutgers Notre Dame tonight. For right now, I'm going to go with Alabama, but I need to see who wins this game tonight. So that could change by tomorrow, but as of right now, I'll go with Alabama to get a win.
I think Notre Dame's going to win tonight, and I think Alabama's going to beat Notre Dame in a close one.
Next up, Texas Tech and Montana State. Give me Texas Tech. I think Chris Beard's got another good team this year. So I'm going to go with Texas Tech to get it done against Montana State.
One of the most athletic teams in the tournament, Texas Tech. Give me the Red Raiders.
Next up, Michigan State and Davidson. Give me Michigan State. My mom's side of the family, basically all Michigan State fans, so I'm going to go with Michigan State to get it done over Davidson.
There's almost always a 10-7 upset. This is the one. Give me Davidson over Michigan State.
Next up, Duke and Cal State Fullerton. I'm going to go with Duke. I'm pretty much going to watch every game Duke has in this NCAA tournament just so I don't miss Coach K's last game as a coach. So I'm going to go with Duke to get it done against Cal State Fullerton here in the first round.
I'm not sure if Duke has the talent to go all the way, but certainly they're going to win this first round game. Give me Duke.
Next up, Baylor, who I don't believe deserves to be a 1 seed in this tournament, taking on Norfolk State. I'm going to go with Baylor to get it done over Norfolk State.
I agree with Scott. They were the 3rd seed in their own conference. Yeah, they're the number 1 overall seed. Kind of crazy. But with that said, give me Baylor.
Next up, North Carolina and Marquette. If North Carolina plays the way they did against Duke a couple weeks ago, I think North Carolina can make a run. But I'm going to go with North Carolina to get it done here against Marquette in a good matchup.
I agree. UNC's been up and down all year, but I think they're good enough to get Marquette.
Next up, St. Mary's and Indiana. Indiana just earning their spot into this tournament last night. From my buddy Kurt Esser, give me Indiana to get a win here. I think Indiana's had a much tougher road to get to this position. So there's always one playing team that gets a win, and I think it's this one. Give me Indiana to get it done against St. Mary's.
My apologies, Kurt. I got to take St. Mary's. I think they played Gonzaga tough all year. They showed me that they've got the talent this year. I got to go with St. Mary's.
Next up, UCLA and Akron. Give me UCLA, one of the sleepers to make it far in this tournament this year. I'll go with UCLA.
I agree with Scott. UCLA last year got to the Final Four. Give me the Bruins.
Next up, Texas and Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech kind of reminds me of Patrick Ewing's Georgetown team last year, coming in with a lot of confidence. But unfortunately, I think they're all burnt out after winning the ACC tournament last week. Give me Texas to get a win over Virginia Tech.
Interesting. We certainly have seen that. We've seen teams that win conference tournaments go on a long ways and other teams that burn out. I think Virginia Tech is going to be the team that goes a long way. I got Virginia Tech in this one.
Next up, Purdue and Yale. Give me Purdue. I think Purdue's a very good team this year. I'm going to go with Purdue over Yale.
This is a battle of the SATs. Give me Yale, but this is basketball, so give me Purdue.
But this could be an upset. I think Yale's got a very good team. Next up, Murray State and San Francisco. My dad told me there's always a 7-10 upset. I think it's right here. Give me San Francisco to pull off the upset over Murray State in a very good game in the first round.
Good pick. I'm going the other way, though. I think Murray State, the Racers, always play tough in the tournament. Give me Murray State.
Next up, Kentucky and St. Peter's. I think the one guy's going to win this game for Kentucky, and that's Oscar Tshiebwe, probably the player of the year in the NCAA this year. I'm going to go with Kentucky over St. Peter's.
I agree. Kentucky's just too talented, and older team than normal. So give me Kentucky.
Next up, Arizona and Wright State and
Is
Bryant.
this the South region?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Give me Arizona. I think Arizona doesn't matter who they play in this playing game tonight. Give me Arizona to get a win.
I think Wright State's going to win the playing game, but then I like Arizona to beat them.
Next up, Seton Hall and TCU. I'm going to go with Seton Hall. I think they've had a good season, so give me Seton Hall over TCU.
I agree. I think Seton Hall's a little better team. I like them to win this one game.
Next up, Houston and UAB. Houston's been banged up all season. Great job by Kelvin Sampson to get this team into the Ncaa tournament. I'm going to go with Houston to get a win over
UAB?
UAB, yes.
I also agree. I think Houston's going to win this game. I think UAB, their programs in general are overachieving, but I think Houston's going to get the win.
Next up, Illinois and Chattanooga. Give me Illinois. I trusted this team to make the Final Four last year. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off. This year, I think they can make it a little far. I'll go with Illinois over Chattanooga.
I like the Illini here as well. I didn't even know Chattanooga had a basketball team, to be honest with you. So give me Illinois.
Next up, Colorado State and Michigan. Just because I don't believe Michigan deserves to be in the tournament, but I think they'll do just enough to get past round one. So I'm going to go with Juwan Howard or Michigan to get it done over Colorado State.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Michigan was a gift getting them in the tournament. So I got Colorado State winning this one.
Next up, Tennessee and Longwood.
That's right down the street, isn't it? Longwood City. Oh.
The SEC champions. Give me Tennessee in this game. I think Tennessee is very good this year, so give me Tennessee over Longwood.
I think Tennessee was underseeded at 3. They should have been a 2 seed, maybe even a 1 seed.
Yeah.
Give me Tennessee.
Next up, Loyola, Chicago, and Ohio State. Loyola, it's hard to bet against this regime when it comes into March, so I'll go with Loyola to get it done over Ohio State.
I agree. I think Loyola always gets hot at the right time. Ohio State, I think, is overseeded here. I like Loyola to get the win.
Next up, Villanova and Delaware. Give me Villanova. I think Delaware did very well coming out of the Colonial, but I'm going to go with Villanova to get it done over
Delaware.
Yes.
Villanova is one of those teams that just plays well in the tournament almost every single year. Give me the Villanova Wildcats.
Next up, Kansas taking on, I can't remember who won that game last night.
Southern Texas.
Yeah. Texas Southern, yep. I'll go with Kansas to get it done here. Kansas looks very good coming out of the Big 12, so I'll go with Kansas to get it done.
I think Texas Southern's going to build on the momentum from last night. I'm kidding. Kansas is going to get the win here.
Next up, San Diego State and Creighton. Very tough to pick these 8-9s. But I'm going to go with San Diego State. I think they've had a very good season coming out of the Mountain West. So I'm going to go with San Diego State to get the win over Creighton.
I think Creighton just played in a better conference, and they looked awfully good in the Big East tournament. So give me Creighton this one.
Next up, it'll be Iowa and Richmond. Iowa coming off a great Big Ten tournament, winning the Big Ten for the first time in a long time. I'm going to go with Iowa to get it done over Richmond.
I agree. I mean, the question becomes, is Iowa fatigued after that great run? I still think they have too much talent. Give me the Hawkeyes.
Next up, Providence and South Dakota State. Providence probably the biggest surprise in the entire bracket this year, being a 5 seed. I think the Cinderella story for them unfortunately ends this year. Right now, I'm going to take my next upset. South Dakota State shoots very well from outside, so I'm going to go with South Dakota State to pull off the upset over Providence.
I've saw something. South Dakota State won like 20 games in a row, but I think their win streak ends here. I think Providence is hearing all this about how they're overseeded, and they're going to come off the chip on their shoulder and get this game.
Next up, LSU and Iowa State. Give me. I'm going to go with LSU. Tougher conference in the SEC, so I'm going to go with LSU to pull it off over Iowa State.
Not me. I'm going with the Cyclones. I think Iowa State played in a really, really tough conference as well. I think they're just a better team than LSU. Give me Iowa State.
Next up, Wisconsin and Colgate. Colgate coming in after winning their conference tournament. I'm going to go with Wisconsin to get the win here. I think Wisconsin's probably one of the better teams in the Big Ten, so I'm going to go with Wisconsin to get the win over Colgate.
I agree. I like the Badgers. They're an awfully good tournament team, and they're tough to beat in this environment. Give me Wisconsin.
Next up, USC and Miami. Just to make UCF look better, I'm going to go with Miami here. I think Miami is played better since that slow start they had to start the season. and I think the ACC was better than the Pac-12 this year. So I'm gonna go with Miami to pull it off over USC.
I think USC is one of the underrated teams in this tournament. I think USC's got a lot of talent. Give me USC.
Next up, Auburn and Jacksonville State. I'll probably be watching this game to see how Jabari Smith plays. He's supposedly could be the number 1 pick in the draft next year. I'm going to go with Auburn to get a win over Jacksonville State.
I agree. I think Auburn is one of the 5 or 6 best teams in the tournament. Give me the Tigers.
Next up, Gonzaga and Memphis.
So going back to the West region?
Yep. Give me Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga's had a very good start to the season, and I think they'll keep it going. Give me Gonzaga over Memphis.
It's a tough game for me to pick. I almost went Memphis, but I think Gonzaga's just got too much talent. I like Gonzaga in this one.
Next up, UConn and Vermont. Give me UConn. I think UConn's had a very good start to the season. Even if they played Arkansas, I think UConn would still win. So I'm going to go with UConn to get it done over Vermont.
Not me. I picked Arkansas earlier. I'm going to pick Arkansas over UConn and get Arkansas to the Sweet 16.
Next up, Alabama, Texas Tech. Give me Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech, like my dad said, very athletic, very poised to have a good run here. I'm going to go with Texas Tech over Alabama.
I agree. I like the Red Raiders here. I think they're just too talented. They're too good defensively. Give me Texas Tech.
Next up, Duke and Davidson. Duke and Michigan State for me. This is normally a Final Four matchup, a national championship matchup. Give me Duke to get it done here over Michigan State. I think Duke finds a way to get it done here.
I've got Duke versus Davidson at this stage. I think Duke is the better team. Go ahead and give me Duke.
Next up, Baylor and North Carolina. Give me Baylor. I think Baylor's, again, not supposed to be a 1 seed, but they'll do enough here. Give me Baylor to pull it off over North Carolina.
I went back and forth on this one. At the end, I decided to go with Baylor, but in a really close game against UNC.
Next up, let's see. For me, it's Indiana and
UCLA.
Give me UCLA. I think they got a great team this year. UCLA coming out of the Pac-12. Give me UCLA over Indiana.
2 of the blue chip schools in college basketball. This is kind of like back to the 1970s. But I think UCLA is going to win this one and get to Sweet 16.
Next up, Texas and Purdue. Give me Purdue. I think Purdue's had a good season coming out of the Big Ten. So I'll go with Purdue to get it done over Texas.
Not me. I think Virginia Tech continues to ride that wave, and I think Virginia Tech gets to the Sweet 16.
Next up, San Francisco and Kentucky. I'm going to go with Oscar Tshiebwe in Kentucky. I think he is going to do probably just him alone will be enough. Give me Kentucky over San Francisco in this matchup.
And for our good friend Terry Jewell, I'm also picking the Kentucky Wildcats to get to the Sweet 16.
Next up, Arizona and Seton Hall. I'm going to go with Arizona. I think Arizona's played very well this year. Give me Arizona over Seton Hall.
I agree. Arizona's just the better team. Arizona gets the win.
Next up, Houston and Illinois. I think the injuries will finally come to fruition here. Give me Illinois to beat Houston and end their season much earlier than people thought. So give me Illinois over Houston.
I think Houston's got one more win in them. I think they're going to get past the Illini and get to the Sweet 16.
Next up, Tennessee and Michigan. I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think Tennessee is a very good team winning the SEC tournament. So I'm going to go with Tennessee to get it done over Michigan.
I agree. Tennessee, very talented team, plays very well together. I like the Volunteers.
Next up, Loyola and Villanova. Give me Villanova. I don't think Sister Jean will do enough this week. I'm going to go with Villanova over Loyola.
If Loyola's playing any other team, I probably would take him here, but Villanova's just so good in the tournament, I'm going to take Villanova as well.
Next up, Kansas and San Diego State. Give me Kansas. I think Kansas could be a Final Four team this year, so I'm going to go with Kansas over San Diego State.
A little preview for next week. I like the Jayhawks as well here.
Next up, Iowa and Providence. Iowa and South Dakota State. Give me Iowa, another potential Final Four team. I'm going to go with Iowa to get it done over South Dakota State.
For my cousins up in Iowa, I've got to take the Hawkeyes here. Give me Iowa.
Next up, LSU and Wisconsin. Give me Wisconsin. I think they've done very well in the Big Ten. I'm going to go with Wisconsin to pull it off over LSU.
Iowa State's upset streak continues. I've got Iowa State going to the Sweet 16.
Next up, Miami and Auburn. I think this is where Miami's season ends. I'm going to go with Auburn to get it done over Miami.
I've got Auburn versus USC. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Auburn's going to win in a really close one.
And that'll do it for this episode of Scott's Picking Sports. Say, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back next week with some more March Madness predictions. And did anything happen on Sunday that we haven't talked about?
That rhymes with maybe.
Oh yeah, Tom Brady is back, ladies and gentlemen. He is back, and I'm calling it right now. The Buccaneers are winning the Super Bowl this year. I don't care about our schedule. We are winning the Super Bowl this year. Tom Brady's going to go out a winner, and he's going to tell everybody that he's officially retiring on that stage in the Super Bowl in Phoenix. So I'll see you guys right back here next week on Scott's Picking Sports. See you later, guys.
See you guys.